Okay, this is Pops here. Hey, so is it possible to live in an RV for under $1,000 a month? Yes, and I'll give you some secrets about it. Number one, stay in an RV park. Don't be afraid of spending money. It's like I'm going to go on BLM land and I'm not going to spend anything. Well, you could do that and live cheaper than $1,000 a month. But then you got other expenses like every time you want water and do dumping and all that. You got to move every 2 weeks, and your insurance costs will be higher because you're on the road more. Look, I have a progressive policy that allows me to be on the road 30 days out of the year. So I go on the road one day out of every month to get from one RV park to another. And I can stay in an RV park for a monthly rate of $350. They charge me $250 to stay for a week. They charge me $35 to stay for a day. If I'm going to pay 35 times 10, that's 10 days, $350. They're going to pay for 1/3 of the month. I'm going to pay for the whole month and just stay. And that's full site hookup. I mean, I got the sewer right there. I've got the water right there. I've got the electric there, so I don't have to run the generator. Don't have to worry about solar, you know. And there's amenities usually. I mean, somewhere around there, like a lake, a river, places to walk, and all that. So that's probably the biggest thing I can say is learn to stay in RV parks and avoid BLM altogether. There's some real literal, I'm not saying everybody that's out there, but the riff-raff of society is out there on BLM land, and you're having to contend with them, although you've got, most of your neighbors are pretty cool. But you got some that you're not sure what part of society they're in. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, and that will cut down the insurance. Like my progressive policy is good for 30 days a year, and I'm only on the road 12 days a year. Number two, learn to cook in bulk, like stews and soups and things like that you can eat for a whole week. It'll save you a lot of money. Number three, don't go out every time you go to the market or whatever. Don't go to Starbucks. You don't need it. When you get home, make yourself a cup of coffee. I get really good coffee, by the way. I buy either Colombian or Sumatra. I like Sumatra. It's a nice dry taste. That's my preference. And I've got an espresso maker, that goes on the stovetop, makes me 9 demi-tasse. And for those who are real espresso drinkers, in fact, I'm going to show you right now. All right, out of the cupboard here. This is a demi-tasse. This is the size an espresso drink is to be. A single espresso drink fits in a demi-tasse. A double might even fit in a demi-tasse. But when you go to Starbucks, damn, you're lucky if they even get the bottom of the cup wet, So, yeah. So I make that, and I make a pot of it. So I do have ground beans for espresso already, and I've got ground beans for Colombian or Sumatra, whatever I buy. Yeah, and I use a water filter when I'm hooked up to, I have an outside filter, that when I'm hooked up to city water supply, because I'm not drinking all that crap that comes through the line. I should probably invest about $250 into a triple stage water filter. I know somebody who's got one, and he doesn't complain about anything about his water. So, yeah, if you avoid buying stuff like that, if you stop going out to McDonald's or Carl's Jr. or wherever for meal like you need it, if you eat good food, then your medical costs will stay down. Because you're careful about what you're putting in your food. They're not careful about what they put in your processed foods. No, they're not. Preservatives and salt and all that. If you're making it, it's better. So my insurance, which is Medicare, I'm a senior, hey. The only part, I have A and B. That's it. I don't go to the doctor. I'm on no pills whatsoever. If I was, I'm close enough to Mexico right here that if a doctor here gave me a prescription, I'd go south of the border and pick up the pills for pennies on the dollar. Right? I wouldn't pay, like I had a prescription, it was filled online, I mean not filled online, it was prescribed online by an online doctor for some antibiotics I need. So I went up to Walmart in Parker, and a prescription that would normally be $55 there, I got it with GoodRx at $19. Well, I went down to Mexico to get some other stuff done, and I hit the big purple pharmacy right there when you cross the border, and got the pills, and they were $8 down there. So when you can, get out of the country to get your pills. Oh, by the way, they're all made by the same company. It's just that other countries have a deal where, like, the drug companies can't charge more than X number of dollars. Pharmaceutical companies can't charge more than X number of dollars for everything. And here, the only thing we've done that with is insulin for seniors. And I'm not on insulin. I mean, I'm a diabetic type 2, but I control it like people in Canada do by diet and exercise. We don't take metformin. Metformin will mess up your kidneys, something bad. It's not just diabetes that will do that, it's metformin. But if you eat right, like I eat keto, and you should look into keto diets. It's basically eating a lot of fat. So eating butter, eating bacon, stuff like that. Drinking cream rather than milk, because milk contains sugar and cream contains none. These are things that will help you with your... it's like this thing about cholesterol. Cholesterol is not what you eat. Cholesterol is caused by what's eating you. What's irritating you. What's getting you going. Your body's going to produce cholesterol anyway. But my dad was part of an ag family. I lived in that house. I've not lived in it, but, stayed in it for like 3 weeks once when I was a kid. And ag families have eggs and bacon every single morning. And they have whole milk, not non-fat. Whole milk still contains some sugar, but they go out in the field and they burn it off. And then they have supper, they have dinner at what we call lunchtime, midday, because they still need more food because they're going out to work some more, so they need a big meal. And then at the end of the day, they have supper. And supper is it's like a snack, It's before bed, you eat it. And they're in good shape doing that. I don't know why we all don't do that in this country, in the cities and all that. But when you're living this relaxed lifestyle where we can do anything we want, whenever we want. I mean, I could skip a meal for lunch if I want to. I'm going over to Blythe to get my car washed and get some new windshield wipers, and go to Albertsons and pick up a few grocery items, like eggs are cheaper over there, and the price of eggs today. And to get some half and half, and I need one of those lighters that you use for like a barbecue. Yeah, I need one for inside the house because this is a house, right? Because there's no pilot light on the burners on the stove. It's an older stove, and the RV is 20 years old. So there's no piezo lighter. So you turn on the gas, hit the butane lighter, the one that you're holding, and it lights it up. I hate using matches all the time, which is what I'm having to do right now. My old lighter ran out of fluid, so I do have to get a new one. And yeah, don't buy coffee at Starbucks. Always get yourself good grades of coffee. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I do Colombian and Sumatra. And I do espresso. And I make my own espresso. And I drink it out of a little Demitasse cup. But there are things that you can do, to cut down your costs. And the biggest thing is don't travel a lot. Seriously. And never go over 50 miles an hour when you do it. You get better mileage. Even though I'll be towing a car behind me on a tow dolly, it's still 50 miles an hour. And in California, the maximum speed is 55 miles an hour if you're towing a vehicle. They're real concerned about the environment. So I'll go 50 miles an hour to use very little gas, and I won't drive far, maybe about tops 4 hours to get from one RV park to another. And only if the RV park is full will I go out and look for BLM land for the night and then decide, am I going to try that RV park again, or am I going to the next one? I've got 30 days of driving, so I can do that and not raise my insurance. And let's see, what's my insurance? Come on. $15.12. That's my insurance a month. Not a bad deal. So, cut down on how much money you're spending on eating, drinking coffee, driving, and put that money into staying in an RV park, which will cut down on your costs of dumping your tank, getting more water, running your generator, which takes gas, or going out and getting solar, which is a tremendous investment. And you can live this lifestyle on less than $1,000 a month just by doing those things. You can probably in fact, I would invite you to go into the comment section and put down some other things that you're thinking of or that you're doing that is lowering your cost of staying in an RV, or not even staying in an RV park, living in an RV. What is it that you're doing that's keeping down your costs? I can tell you that when I lived in Oregon, that was the least I paid for housing, and I paid $550 a month for space rent in a manufactured home park, and I owned the abandoned Fisher home. Yes, outright, I owned it. And that was tight. It was $200 more than I do now. Well, actually, I probably, with the cost of gas, the cost of food, the cost, how much I save on coffee, and the cost of staying in an RV park, I probably spend close to $500 a month. So you can do it for under $1,000. That's all I'm saying. It can be done. And and our medical insurance. I'm a senior. So are you, right? Okay, we have Medicare, right? So we got a pretty good deal. We don't have to go out and do Obamacare or any of that anymore. Truthfully, I do A and B only because I have no issue. Well, I have I'm type 2 diabetic, but I control it like most Canadians do. And I'm not Canadian. I just have friends who are. I control it with diet and exercise. Bottom line, you know, watch the labels of everything that you eat and make up most of your food, and avoid things like potato and anything white is not right. You know, potatoes, sugar, flour. Oh, but you can do cauliflower. You know, put some cheddar cheese on it, bake it in the oven. It's delicious. Um, yeah. So eat right, control your diet, and then hey, when I was out on BLM land like LTVA, I was doing 10 miles a day walking, and here in the park I probably do 2 or 3 miles a day. That's it. But I don't have to travel that much. It's a smaller area. So I'm gonna go to Blythe tonight. Gotta get into the car wash. We had a real bad wind here a couple of days ago, and then it was followed with rain, and so it muddied everybody's car. And I'm gonna go over there, get it washed, and then I gotta go to AutoZone and get the wiper blades because they need to be replaced on the front, and play the senior card. Have them come out and put it on for me. I'm not putting them on. Gotta play the senior card at the right time. And then I'll go to Albertsons in the same center and get my shopping done. Maybe go to Rite Aid across the street if I need anything. You know, in case they make it too difficult to get soaps and stuff, I can get them over at Rite Aid. They leave them right out in the open. They don't put them into a locked cabinet where you have to constantly look for an employee of the store to unlock things for you. That's an Albertson annoyance. Yeah, and I realized too, when I go out of town, I mean, I'm going to go up Highway 95 probably. And if I do, then I'm taking this 95 here up into Parker. You know, there's a brand of gasoline up there called Running Man. Well, actually, that's stations. They're owned by indigenous people. That's an Indian reservation, Parker. So I will buy my gas up there because it's less than it is anywhere else in the state of Arizona. So on my way out of Arizona, going up into California, I'll have a full tank. And then I'll go out of California and into Nevada and keep on driving up because it basically goes to Boise. But I'll be stopping at, you know, RV parks along the way where the weather is a good weather, not inclement. I don't want to be where I have to stay in my RV all day because it's too hot outside. And I don't want to be where it's cold and I have to run the heater all the time. Looking ideally for 70 degrees, probably not going to find it because in order to get 70 degrees all the time in the United States requires a trip to Alaska. And my God, that's a long ways to drive, you know? I mean, clear through Canada on the western coast, through starting with British Columbia, heading up, and finally getting into Alaska. Nope, not interested. Won't play that game because that costs me too much in fuel. And I'm watching my pennies. Always watch them. You know, one other thing. That, you know how I was saving my money on an IRA? Well, the government changed their laws starting with this year with the boost on Social Security. They made it so that if you take money out of an IRA, you automatically have to withdraw like federal withholding of 12% minimum or something. Well, I did that. I took that money out of the IRA because that is my Social Security payment. I mean, I was putting it in there as a safe place, and it's like, nope, I got a second checking account anyway. So I moved it over to the second checking account. And I could open a savings account with the bank, but that's where I'm putting the money. And then when I need any of it, I will move it into the checking account that I have the debit card on. And that's it. I can't play that game anymore. I'm really thinking about getting a fireproof safe and having it put in the RV and taking all my cash out of the bank and put it in there. And when I need money, just take it out of the safe. Because I'm not too sure I trust banks anymore, but I'm a little bit paranoid about it. So here I am, 71 years old now. I had my birthday in January. And about to retire and live this life full time. And I swear to God, if you can do it and live in RV parks all the way, occasionally jumping into BLM land when you have to, but only when you have to. You can. The beauty of living in an RV park. They don't run credit check on you ever. Nobody cares. There's no first, last, and cleaning deposit. You're just staying in your RV on a piece of land they have, utilizing their resources. That's it. They don't care. They don't care if you ever come back, which of course, you're going to make a list of the ones that you want to go back to, and then every year when you repeat your trip, which you could do, you make a list of the ones that you do want to be back at, and those are the ones that you're going to contact and schedule. So my personal preference is if you can find an Indian casino. Most of them have RV parks, and usually they're about $35 a day. Okay, stay at them. And then if you're looking to cool down and go someplace and just chill out for a while, go to the casino. You don't have to gamble, Like, just because my last name is Reno doesn't mean I gamble. I used to play blackjack, and rather successfully. But I just go. I like to eat at Indian casinos. They're an expensive place to get a good meal. I don't have to eat there all the time, but I will go over there to eat. And usually they're on a river or something, so there's something to do there all the time. All right, well, I'm going to go now. Drink some more coffee. That's my biggest habit. My most expensive one of the day is drinking coffee. Even at 71, I'm drinking coffee all the time, and it's like I'd probably be dead for 2 weeks before they'd notice that I didn't have a heartbeat. So I'm going to go now. This is Pops Out, and I wish you the very best. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And I appreciate the comments. I read them, every one of them. And I'll at least like them or dislike them, even if I don't reply. But to all the rest of the seniors out there, hey kids, let's have fun.